Ladies and gentlemen, shout out to everybody rocking with Flight Sports. Listen, Shedeur Sanders, we got news to break to you. He is training this week during the bye in Houston, and he is not questioning any of his teammates' dedication to football. There's been a lot of things going on, a lot of speculation, a lot of chirping. Coach Prime Deion Sanders, had a lot of questions following that double overtime loss to Stanford. I want to give some quotes. He says, "What I just said in the locker room to the team is they got to make up in their mind, are they in love with this game or are they in like with it? Pardon me." Deion Sanders said after the Buffaloes blew a 29-0 halftime lead, because you love something, you give it unconditionally. You give everything you got to it. But when you like it, you just a bottom. You just push. Just a button that you just push around here. So clearly, you see what's going on with Coach Prime Deion Sanders. He's not liking, what was going on, and you see Shedeur Sanders clearly, the quarterback and the son of Coach Prime Deion Sanders, when asked of his thoughts, following the disappointment, he says, I'm not going to point fingers. That's not what I'm here for. I let the coaches, that's what they're here for. They're here to guide us, so I can't really say that and throw no teammates under the bus, because that's not the type of player I am. This is what Shedeur Sanders said. The guys know that, and that's that. But I'll never put a teammate down and say he's not fully in if he probably is. So clearly, Shedeur Sanders' is handling this very delicately. It's crazy because he's the leader of the team. You clearly see that L. I think he's the leader and the dog of the team, to be honest with you. Shedeur just takes care of so many different, boxes. He checks all the boxes. You've heard Deion say, as long as I got number two, like I said, his confidence is through the roof as long as he got Shedeur Sanders with him. But it is what it is at the end of the day. Um, let's see what happens, during this bye week for Colorado. A lot of people can't wait to see what they do. They got UCLA, so that's going to be spectacular to see if they can get the job done. They got a lot riding on this game. Then they got Oregon State. They got Arizona, so things only get tougher from here. That's one thing I can for sure guarantee you, that things only get tougher. It's really not we really could say, nonetheless, but it is what it is. Shedeur Sanders will continue to electrify, despite, the losses. There's a lot of things that they need to work on. And I think that Shedeur could admit to it. I think Deion can admit to it. It's not really to point fingers. Collectively, they have to do better, in order to get things right. And the starts were working. And as you can see, the Colorado Buffaloes are on the bye this week. Players are having some downtime away from this day-to-day grueling schedule. Make sure you subscribe to Flight Sports as well, so you don't miss no news updates and more. Shedeur is dialed in, y'all. So he ain't taking no breaks. He ain't taking no days off, nothing. He's training in Houston during the break. There's no word on who Sanders will be training with while he's near the Texas Gulf area. Sanders has built relationships with a few NFL QBs, including Tom Brady, whom he signed an NIL deal with over a year ago. The GOAT passer has mentored Shedeur Sanders throughout this season and continuously gives him the advice that he needs. He also has worked with Peyton Manning, Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, and others. So clearly, this man is out there, taking care of some serious business. Lord knows who he's actually training with, and that's truly spectacular, to say the least. I just got to keep it all the way real. It has been a great year, nonetheless, for Sanders, going into the final 5 games. He leads the FBS in 303 attempts and 2019 completions, with 2,420 yards passing. An anonymous coach claimed Shedeur's stats were at the top because he had taken a record number of sacks. It's pretty clear that Sanders is an outstanding decision maker and has evidence to back it up. He also has 21 touchdowns and will likely break CU's single season mark in the next few games. So clearly, you see what's going on with Shedeur Sanders. There's a lot of big things going on. Nonetheless, it's truly spectacular. We joined by Dex right now. Shedeur Sanders is not questioning his teammates. He's training in Houston right now, getting ready for the bye during UCLA. Shedeur has electrified since he stepped foot at CU. What's your early thoughts on this news on Shedeur Sanders, Dex? It's flight sports. Give us your thoughts.
Yes, sir. Thank you, Flight, once again for inviting me into your space and integrating me into your platform. I just believe that Shedeur Sanders is doing the right thing by taking a break from the team and focusing on the main thing and keeping the main thing. After that devastating loss to Stanford, a one-win team at the time in the Pac-12, a grueling gauntlet of play, it was very embarrassing because they had the game in hand, and somehow in the second half of the game, which we know football is a tale of two halves, the Stanford Cardinals put a whooping on the Colorado Buffaloes. And Shedeur Sanders can only do so much because he only played one side of the ball. So now he is in Houston focusing on what matters most to him moving forward, because maybe everybody on the Colorado Buffaloes is not on the same page with Coach Prime, the coaching staff, and the elite players amongst them: Travis Hunter, Shedeur Sanders, Silo, Xavier Weaver, et cetera, et cetera. So we have to take a break. Sometimes separation is what's needed to regain your focus in order for you to concentrate on your particular job and not worry about nobody else's. And by him being in Houston, that is a good place to be because you have a lot of refreshing activities down in Houston, whether you go to Galveston, Corpus Christi, or just stay around, be around the lakes, Mo City, and things of that nature. So I champion Shedeur Sanders for being strong enough, man enough, and committed enough to take a break from all the celebrity and hoopla surrounding Boulder, Colorado, and getting into a space of solace and solitude, and where he can focus on doing his job the best of his ability. Flight.
Absolutely. We can't wait to see what he does against UCLA. Make sure you subscribe to Flight Sports TV for more news updates and more as we bring the coverage to you. Peace and love.